Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. You guys know what we do here. You bring the curiosity and the sources, and we dive deep, we explore, and we extract
That's it.
those fascinating insights just for you.
Absolutely.
Today, we're diving into a session from the YouTube channel, Hypnovibes.
Oh, cool.
Now, in this particular deep dive, Naomi guides Navi into a state where he channels energy, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
But this isn't just any everyday energy we're talking about here. This is described as something originating from a place that's luminous, it's mystical. It's described as a temple.
Oh, wow.
Surrounded by surreal landscapes and divine beings.
That's quite the imagery.
It really sets the stage, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For something pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And, as always, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to join us as we navigate this fascinating material.
Yeah.
We'll delve into the key themes, the predictions, the perspectives
All right.
offered through this channeled energy.
Okay, so where do we begin?
Well, the session begins with a calling in, an invitation, if you will,
Okay.
to what's termed appropriate energy.
Interesting.
It's almost like setting the stage, wouldn't you say,
Yes, very
for a
great.
conversation. And the focus is on this election, you know, the one that's sort of looming over us right now.
Right, yes.
And a person referred to as Dee Combs.
Okay.
So right off the bat, we're dealing with some timely and potentially significant figures and events, right?
Yeah, definitely grabs your attention.
It does. And the entity communicating through Navi doesn't offer a specific name at first.
Oh, interesting.
It later identifies as Source Energy Court.
Okay, what do you think about that?
What does that suggest to you about the nature of the information being shared?
Well, I think that kind of gives it a sense of almost a universal kind of wisdom, you know, rather than like a specific individual viewpoint, you know, like Source Energy Court, maybe think of it as like a collective consciousness, you know, or a foundational layer of awareness that like permeates everything, right?
Yeah.
It's a concept that we see in a lot of different, you know, spiritual and philosophical explorations too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Now, one of the early points made is about this Dee Combs.
Okay.
What was your takeaway there regarding their role in the bigger picture?
Well, I think what's interesting is that Dee Combs is not really presented as like the cause or the end result of things, you know what I mean?
Right.
But more like as a marker, a signpost of deeper changes that are already happening. So the crumbling of societies, as they put it, isn't seen as like starting or ending with this person,
Right.
but as this ongoing process. That's kind of like becoming more visible now.
Yeah.
So it's like a longer, more systemic thing rather than a sudden event.
Okay, like they're a symptom
Yeah, like a symptom.
of something larger.
Exactly.
And then they talk about people needing to take the veil or the curtain from their eyes.
Interesting.
What kind of shift do you think that speaks to?
I think for you that might resonate as like a change in how we perceive reality, you know?
Yeah.
Like imagine a filter or like some long-held beliefs
Right.
that have been shaping your view, you know, taking the veil that then becomes this act of like questioning those assumptions, right? Choosing to see things with a fresh perspective.
Right.
And also they mention this skepticism that's been seeping in, which is interesting too, right? It kind of hints at this gradual erosion of trust
Right.
or a growing awareness that things aren't as they seem.
And this shift isn't just personal, it's predicted to extend into the entertainment industry.
Okay.
Now, this took a turn I wasn't expecting. It's this notion of music evolving, becoming more spiritual, attuned to our inner selves.
Interesting.
They even suggest that some current music can be damaging
Oh, wow.
to human consciousness.
Okay, that's a big claim.
It is. The provocative, right?
It is.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it makes you think about the impact that art and media can have on us, right? Especially something like music.
Right.
You know, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And they seem to prefer like genres like country, nature, healing, soul music for the earth itself, they call it.
It's beautifully put, right?
It is, yeah.
So what kind of music resonates with you?
Well, you know, I think that for me it's music that that kind of like takes me away, you know, something that's maybe a little bit more, you know, mellow, relaxing.
Right. It's like a yearning for something authentic,
Yeah.
less jarring.
Exactly.
And despite the mention of dark times, there's this hopefulness in this part of the session.
Okay.
They use these vivid analogies like a pendulum swinging wide or a stretched rubber band about to release.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
What feelings do those images evoke for you?
Well, I think those metaphors really help to visualize this idea of built-up potential, right?
Yeah.
And the possibility for like major change, And then there's a prediction of this huge scandal or a report acting as a catalyst for people to take back their power.
Right.
And they talk about this change affecting music, government, education, healthcare. It's pretty big.
It's huge. It's a comprehensive societal transformation.
Yeah.
And this isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's presented as a threshold for open contact with other civilizations that have already navigated their own ascensions.
Oh, that's interesting thought.
So they have knowledge for us, just as our human emotions hold significance for them. It's like we each hold a piece of a larger cosmic understanding.
Yeah.
What aspects of human emotion do you think might be particularly valuable from a cosmic perspective?
I think the fact that they emphasize human emotions as this potent and often underestimated aspect of our being is very thought-provoking,
Yeah.
It suggests that our emotions, which we sometimes see as complex or irrational, could actually hold the key to our evolution, and our connection to other forms of intelligence.
Okay. Now, a question that I'm sure is on your mind, as it was on mine, is about the timeline for all of this.
Right.
When are we talking about these changes unfolding?
So this is where it gets interesting. They draw this parallel with the timeline of what they call hybrid children in modern times, starting in like the 1930s.
Okay.
Suggesting that these big developments take time.
Yeah.
They unfold over time. However, they also emphasize that while personal and societal transitions away from hierarchies, aren't instantaneous. They're not going to happen overnight.
Right.
We could potentially influence this timeline through increased self-awareness and, moving toward altruism.
Right.
So think about it. What small shifts in your perspective or your actions might contribute to this kind of change?
Yeah, that's a good question to consider. It's extending a hand to others and uplifting ourselves. That feeling of interconnectedness.
Exactly.
The natural world. Yeah. Recognizing that even small choices have this ripple effect. It's this gradual awakening.
A collective awakening.
Yeah,
exactly.
On a collective level. And then the conversation turns to politics.
Oh, okay.
And there's this pressing question. Will the election proceed as planned? Will the nature of politics itself undergo a transformation?
Okay.
The response is pretty direct.
Yeah.
What struck you about their perspective?
Well, what's interesting is this assertion that politics will fundamentally shift because of an evolution in human consciousness. Yeah. So from this perspective, the specifics of any election cycle become secondary to this more profound transformation.
Okay.
In how we relate to each other and to authority. Does that resonate with you at all?
It does, yeah. It's a perspective that kind of shifts the focus, right?
It does, yeah.
From the outer to the inner. And they do offer insights on the two individuals. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump.
Okay.
What did you make of those characterizations?
So Donald Trump is depicted as like conveying a message to institutions, corporations, governments that their time is up, you know, that the era of not putting people first is ending.
Right.
They see him as someone who wants to bring this to light, a role he's already played to some extent.
Okay.
Kamala Harris, on the other hand, is described as having inconsistent energy, not acting in service of society, and essentially following orders, not in charge of her own thinking.
It's a stark contrast.
It is, yeah.
But the crucial point seems to be, regardless of who holds office, the system itself will evolve as individuals awaken to their own power.
Right. It's about internal empowerment.
Yes.
Not waiting for external forces.
Exactly. It's taking back your power.
Yeah.
Does that resonate with you?
It's a powerful message.
In the context of current events.
It is, yeah.
And the time frame they suggest. For these shifts is within the current year.
Wow.
With a snowball effect.
That's a bold prediction.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the identity of this entity.
Oh, okay.
Speaking through Navi, we heard Source Energy Court. But there's this reluctance to give a specific name.
Interesting.
What does that suggest to you?
Well, I think it reinforces this idea of a connection to a larger, more encompassing intelligence rather than like a defined personality, you know? The emphasis is really on the message itself and its potential impact, not the identity of the messenger.
What do you think is the significance of that?
I think it's about, focusing on the content, the truth of the message, rather than getting caught up in who's delivering it.
Okay. And they talk about this increase in seriousness in the work field and industry, emphasizing the importance of finding happiness that's rooted in genuine alignment.
Right, yeah.
There's also this intriguing hint that 2025 will be a very significant year.
Oh, interesting.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's natural for us to be curious about the future, right? But they frame it as this inherent drive of the soul to evolve, and transcend old ways of thinking. It's like this desire within us to seek deeper understanding, expand our horizons.
What questions about the future do you find yourself pondering?
I think a lot about the nature of reality, how things are going to change, what role we're going to play in that.
Yeah. And then they talk about the possibility of manifesting UFO contact through meditation.
Oh, wow.
What are the key prerequisites for such an encounter?
Well, they emphasize mutual desire and mutual benefit. It's not just about human intention. There needs to be a willingness from both sides and a sense of purpose.
Okay.
They also connect the motivations for seeking contact back to those personal blockages we discussed.
Interesting. So our inner state plays a role.
That's a significant role.
In our external experiences. And connections. It's a recurring theme.
It is.
That our inner world profoundly influences our outer reality. Now, the session explores the ability to connect with specific individuals, even different realities.
Okay.
There's this mention of someone named Z, who apparently declined to be accessed.
Oh, interesting.
What does that tell us about these connections?
It suggests that there are boundaries, perhaps even permissions involved in these connections.
Okay.
The fact that they couldn't tap into Z highlights that individuals can control access to their energy or their reality.
And then there's the difficulty in connecting with Renee and Shaneza.
Okay.
Which leads to this concept of split reality.
Right.
Can you explain what that might entail?
So imagine this. We all inhabit the same physical world, right? But our perceptions of it can be so different that it's almost like we're living in different versions of reality. They use this analogy of a mirror with overlapping charts, allowing for jumps between these realities.
Interesting.
But they say the situation with Renee and Shaneza is different, implying a more significant divergence.
Have you ever experienced someone's perception of an event?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Being drastically different from your own?
All the time.
Right. Then there's this past experience involving Navi, Z, and a substance where Z was enthusiastic, Navi was not.
Okay.
It resulted in a disturbance.
I see.
So it sounds like energetic mismatches can have tangible effects.
They can.
What does this suggest?
Yeah.
About the importance of energetic alignment?
Well, I think it really underscores the idea that harmony is important, right? Z's subsubstant absence from this reality is explained as a need for personal time, growth, before re-engaging, again highlighting the significance of individual states and readiness.
It makes you think, how often our own states influence things.
And then they offer support to Chris in the room.
Oh, right.
Urging them to continue channeling, to overcome self-doubt. They even offer a time frame for when they might feel more comfortable.
That's encouraging.
It is. What does that suggest to you?
It shows that many people can tap into this, right?
Yeah.
With practice and belief in themselves.
Right.
And this reassurance that one person developing these skills doesn't diminish another's potential.
Right.
That's a valuable reminder, I think.
It is. Now let's talk about Navi's own capacity. Apparently, another aspect of him can access this energy.
Okay.
It holds back. Why do you think that is?
I think the feeling is that he needs to maintain control.
Right.
Maybe doesn't feel fully prepared to open up completely.
Okay.
The prediction is that as this resistance eases, he'll experience more insights, more information, which could be good for those around him. Yeah, it makes you think about how we might hold back our own potential.
Absolutely. We all do it.
Right. He's described as reserved, not fearful. sharing information when he feels it's necessary. And the act of channeling itself is seen as positive for him.
Okay.
So good to hear. There are no downsides to this practice.
Yeah, it's beneficial.
Have you ever found that engaging in a particular activity helped you to become more open, more expressive?
You know what? I think writing has done that for me. You know, just the act of putting my thoughts down helps me process things.
Yeah. And then they talk about Naomi having connected with one of Navi's spirit guides, Archangel Michael, and the presence of a Syrian guide overseeing him. And Navi interacts with this guide in his astral body or in dreams.
Interesting.
Without conscious awareness.
So there's this deeper level of guidance maybe happening in all our lives.
Yeah, in ways we don't realize. It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
That we learn about a past life of someone present as a gray being with connections to language and lighting and a visual of someone writing.
That's specific.
It is. What does that suggest to you?
I think it speaks to the idea that we carry forward experiences, skills, even from past lives, you know, and they might show up in unexpected ways.
Right.
The connection between a gray being and language and lighting is fascinating.
It is.
It makes you think, where do our talents come from?
Right. And then there's a new person in the room whose energy is described as somewhat closed.
Okay.
They liken it to a cabinet with one door open and the rest closed.
Right.
This is presented as a reason for difficulty entering a hypnotic state.
Okay.
What does that analogy convey to you?
Well, it's a great analogy for blockages, isn't it?
Yeah.
These doors closed by choice, maybe unconsciously, right? Suggesting some resistance, a protective mechanism.
Have you ever felt like certain parts of yourself were closed off?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And then the question of microdosing mushrooms comes up, but the answer is no.
Okay.
Meditation is recommended instead. Why do you think that is?
They seem to suggest that the person's difficulty isn't about needing altered consciousness, but about a lack of clarity, about their direction, their contributions. So in this context, mushrooms might actually make things worse.
Yeah.
Whereas meditation offers a path to stillness and guidance.
Finding your inner compass.
Exactly.
Instead of relying on external substances. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Okay. And then they talk about a relationship challenge.
Right.
This person is facing. The advice is meditation. Again, reinforcing this idea that external solutions aren't the answer to internal misalignment. It's even suggested that they might be there.
Wow.
Specifically to receive this message about not depending on mushrooms.
That's interesting.
What does that tell us about the nature of these gatherings?
It highlights this idea that synchronicities, right?
Yeah. The right information comes to us when we need it, even if we're not aware of it.
It's like we're drawn to what we need.
Exactly.
Okay. Now we get a description of Navi's spirit guide.
Oh, cool.
A female figure with a lizard-like green form.
Okay.
Spiky on the outside, but radiating bright inner energy.
Interesting. What do you make of that?
I think the spiky outer form could represent a need for Navi to smooth out his energetic flow. You know, make it more accessible, less guarded.
Right.
But the bright inner energy signifies his potential, his inner light.
Right. So the inner brilliance is there.
Yes.
Even if the outside seems a bit rough.
Exactly. And they compare his energetic movement to a snail.
Okay.
Slow, deliberate, with an outer shell for protection, but possessing this valuable inner energy.
What do you think about that image?
Well, the snail, despite its pace, has a clear direction, right?
Yeah.
It carries its essential self with it. So maybe it speaks to Navi's self-containment.
Okay. The preciousness of his inner world.
Right.
Perhaps a need for patience, self-nurturing.
Yeah.
As he opens up.
That makes sense.
Can you relate to that?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Moving at your own pace.
Yeah.
While safeguarding your inner resources.
Absolutely.
All right. They also talk about the energies present in the room, particularly near the bed. One energy is described as neon green, yellow and red.
Wow.
We learned that this energy facilitates communication.
Interesting.
And was present even before they started.
So it was like waiting for them.
It was. What does that tell us? About the dynamics of these gatherings?
Well, it shows that energy fields are interactive, right?
Yeah.
Dynamics or energies can be attracted or even precede intentions, gatherings.
Right.
It's like setting the stage.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder about the unseen influences.
It does.
In our own lives.
Right. And finally, they delve into the concept of trust.
Okay.
And how we as humans struggle with it.
Yeah.
Due to learned behaviors that contradict our natural capacity for trust.
Interesting.
What resonated with you there?
Well, the idea that our natural state is trust.
Right.
But it's been eroded by experience, by patterns.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
It is.
But we can unlearn those behaviors.
Right.
Rebuild trust.
And at any time.
Yeah.
It's not easy to trust the unknown.
Yeah.
But it's a return to our true nature.
I like that.
And they even mention the purpose of rock music.
Oh, really?
And the impact of guitar frequencies, suggesting they can affect the multiverse.
Oh, okay.
What are your thoughts on the energy of music?
It emphasizes this interconnectedness of everything, you know, how even simple things like music can have these big effects.
Right.
They offer this perspective on all music as spirit expressing creativity in the physical realm.
Yeah.
And they acknowledge that internal experience of music during altered states as a high form, but still value created music.
Right. It's a balanced view.
It is.
And then this final thought.
Yeah.
That your enjoyment, your pleasure, is also the spirit's enjoyment and pleasure.
That's beautiful.
It's a reminder that joy itself is a spiritual act.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a journey.
It has.
This deep dive into hypno-vibes. We've navigated predictions about societal shifts, explored the political climate, delved into personal growth.
And so now I'd like to invite whatever the proper energy, the appropriate energy to be here to things related to, let's say, this person, Diddy Combs, things related to this election that is going to happen very soon. I feel there's a lot of things happening. So if we can have a little bit better understandings. So when I count to 3, this energy will be here and we can ask questions. 1 and 2 and 3. Who I'm speaking with?
No particular name.
So does this person, Diddy Combs, is the beginning of something much bigger that's going to be exposed?
He's not the start or he's not the end. Crumbling of society has been happening for some time. It is now more obvious than ever before. People are starting to take the veil, take the curtain from their eyes and opening up to seeing the deceptiveness that has been seeping.
In a way, we cannot believe that we accepted this for a very long time.
We wanted to. It's just a transformation that needed to happen. Steps need to be in place so we could know our own empowerment.
So this will not only shake the entertainment industry.
It will not. It will make it more refined, more spiritual, more in tune with our inner senses. Music that is being put out to the public is damaging, which reflects human consciousness.
Would you say there are certain genres of music that are a little bit closer to country music?
More nature, more in healing aspects, yes.
Right.
Genre itself does not give you an indication. Say it's the soul music for the earth itself, not just country.
I'm very excited about what's going to happen next. It's dark, but it's also exciting.
It is how it's supposed to happen. It is like a pendulum swing that's staying in one place, goes all the way towards the end, and then goes backwards to the other side, like a rubber band. It's the image of a rubber band that you keep pushing it towards the very end, and then it jumps out towards the farthest way it could possibly go. Slingshot, yes.
Will there be something similar that will happen in the food industry?
You mean the change that it's going to happen to the music industry?
Right. Let's say there'll be a huge scandal or report about how there's not very...
It will be, and the people must take back their power, and when that happens, then you will see the change that you will see in all sectors of human society, not just in music. You'll see it in government, you'll see it in education, you'll see it in hospitals, you'll see it in all aspects.
So this is the threshold.
It is.
How will open contact help humans take back their power?
They'll learn from other civilizations. The ones that have already gone through the ascension process have much to offer humanity. much like the human qualities have so much to offer, their civilization, some of these civilizations do not have the opportunity to experience the full range of emotions. Emotions is such a powerful tool to have, and it is not used to the highest potential that humans can use it for. Open contact will make it so much more greater. There will be a greater collaboration.
So how come the Greece took like 100 years, a century to make this happen?
Clarify that question.
So I think the movement, the abduction, or started making hybrid children is probably from the 1930s.
Modern times.
It takes a long time.
That's modern times. It's happened before that.
It takes a long time for us to get to this point.
It does. Being in tune with oneself is not an overnight thing. Society as a whole is built on the understanding that being above one another is how it's meant to be. And using science and technology for your own purposes is the way it's meant to be. Only when you go past that understanding that you realize that is not the direction the soul wants. And only when you start doing introspection do you realize that to help others is the highest benefit, and it takes eons to get there, but we could make it happen in a lesser time. So yes, it is a step-by-step process. It does not happen overnight.
So let's say last night I did this mushroom and I keep feeling this word altruism. We did not understand this. We're doing everything for ourselves and our own family. So it's a time for us to learn this, to understand helping others is helping ourselves.
It is. The energy around us is helping us in that manner. The energies of nature, the planets, the sky, the water, the lakes, the earth itself is giving us a sense that we are all connected, that what you do for others impacts someone else. Sometimes not directly, sometimes indirectly. And we must have that perception that that kind of cause and effect does happen, even though we don't realize it. But we are getting there, especially at this time. That.
So I would like to ask a different question. So this election might not happen.
The higher question is that, do you think politics in general will change besides election? And that is true. Politics itself will change.
Because something even bigger will happen.
Change within ourselves is happening. Everything else besides that is not relevant.
Can we know a little bit more about this?
I've already spoken about it.
What?
I've already spoken about it. Look at the recording.
Can you tell us something about the two candidates that we have at the moment?
Did I question one time?
Can you tell us about the two candidates that we have at the moment, Kamala and Trump?
Kamala Harris? What was that question?
Can you tell us about what do you think about Kamala Harris and Donald Trump?
They carry different energies. And
what are the roles in regards to open contact?
Donald Trump is giving a lesson to corporations and governments that their time is up. They no longer serve the people. And he wants to bring that to the forefront. And he's done that.
He has done that before this life?
He's already done that as president. As for Kamala, her energies are back and forth. It's not consistent. It does not serve the betterment of society. She realizes it too, but she is just following orders.
So she's, in a way, not really.
She's not in charge of her own thinking and her mind.
Is it true that if Trump gets elected again, he will start?
It doesn't matter who is elected. The system itself is going to change. The decisions that they make will not overturn the direction that society is going on.
But then the system will change all.
Like I said, it's the empowerment of ourselves. To realize that we have the power ourselves. Start realizing that we don't have to rely on someone else to give us that power. But we've fought far too long.
So this will happen in this year?
It's already happening. It's a snowball effect.
So what can you tell us about everything that the politics and the changes from now until end of this year?
I know you're going to say it's happening now.
Yes. Can you go a little more into detail?
Let it unfold the way it should be. Do not be don't be such in a hurry.
So we're on the right track.
These times have been talked about for many years.
Can I ask again who we are speaking with?
Name does not matter.
Your source energy?
You could call it that.
What?
If you could call it that,
Oh,
the name does not matter. Message matters.
Right, because I already see a change in the work field industry, if you want to call it
It
that.
is. It's more seriousness is not there as much as it was in previous years. Joy and happiness needs to be surrounded in those environments.
So 2025 is going to be...
Some years it's going to be very exciting, not just that particular year.
Why do we have curiosity into the specific details of what will happen, and what should we do about this curiosity?
Of your own choosing, and you would want to go more into it because it impacts your own growth.
This is the drive.
You feel that there's a inclination in your own soul itself that wants you to look more deeply into it, such as you being in this room itself and asking that question itself. You want to keep pushing yourself forward so you are not stuck in your old thinking and your old way of doing things. And that is very pleasing to...
You have any closer connections with this body, Navi?
One of his aspects.
Oh,
He is not ready to tap into it yet, but in time he will.
I see. I think he's...
He needs time.
What?
He needs time.
Mm.
He's getting there. You are hoping him.
So we'd like to ask more questions about what will happen. Can we ask those?
Let it unfold the way it should. Do not be in such a hurry.
Because of the changes in energy, will it be, let's say, more probable that if, let's say, do a meditation, we can manifest a UFO?
Connection needs to be there. They would want to have that contact and you would want to have that contact. It must be mutual. You can not just snap your fingers and let them appear just because you want it to. There must be some kind of benefit beyond that interaction.
But what would be some reasons why they would want contact with us in this time?
Is again this person's blockage?
Somewhat.
Oh, I know when you are stuck.
Same thing.
What we can do with this blockage?
Nothing. Just let it go through its own course. You can ask other questions if you want.
Because you don't give us more detailed answers. So a different question. Just want to know. You might not know this person, but let's say this person Z. Is he in a different reality right now?
Cannot tap into that person.
You cannot?
No.
Why not?
He is not allowing me to tap into him.
Wow. So we can do that.
You can.
So he will not allow you because he...
Must be mutual.
But why he needs to be secretive?
Say that one more time.
So why would he's not letting people know what he's doing?
He has his own particular reasons.
Is it kind of positive? Is it blockage again?
Not in the blockage. It's energy that you're seeking.
So I feel he's not in the same reality with us.
I cannot tap into the person.
I don't hear this often when they don't give permission to be tapped into.
That is correct.
How about these two people? One is Renee. She has skin rash all over her body. Another person is Shaneza, and her last name is Aziz. They are also in a different reality. So it's hard for me to tap into their reality.
It's not.
I shouldn't.
You can if you want to. There's no restriction.
But what kind of realities they're in?
A split reality.
What?
Split?
Meaning?
It's like a mirror that's broken into different shards. One is overlapping towards the other, and they're able to jump from those different realities if they want to.
I see. But Z's situation is different.
Yes, not the same. That's more of Renee's environment.
More what?
Of her environment.
Yes. So let's say maybe a week ago, Navi and me and Z, we did this substance. He was very excited the whole time, but Navi was couldn't go to that state.
That's
disturbance.
One for himself as well as energy of Z
does not
match. Navi tends to keep himself in a quiet zone. Z is more expressive. You are somewhat of a mix. If Navi tends to have an introspection, he tends to have it in his own terms. If it's disturbed, doesn't quite make it more beneficial for him. He had fear as well. Did not want control to be taken over his body, but if he had done this substance in his own terms, in his own comfort zone would have amplified the effects.
So why Z disappeared after that?
Could you explain that more?
So I feel he's no longer, at least in this reality, with me after that event.
He feels as if he needs to take some time for himself before re-engaging with you. Let him be in that space for some time. He'll come back when he's ready.
So he's kind of growing on his own?
He is. You're just nudging him towards where he needs to be, but his capabilities are being
amplified by anything else that you want to tell us, the people in the room?
Yes, for Chris. Keep practicing channeling. You'll get better at it. Don't let the fear make you seem that you're not worthy of that practice. You'll get comfortable with it. Just don't think that since another person is more qualified makes you not worthy. You seem to have a question to what I just said. Do you want to say it? You have a question to what I just said? To what I just said about channeling, do you have a question about that? Yeah. Seems like you have a question about that. Say that one more time.
What would be the timeline where you think I would be comfortable in channeling? Do you happen to know?
After the 6th. 6th.
Oh, thank you.
I do not have any more messages.
You do?
Do not.
Very good. And I really appreciate this. You are another aspect of Navi.
He can tap into it anytime he wants, but he's not letting his energies flow with it.
Because?
Sense of control.
Because what?
Feels that he's not ready yet, but his heart is being more open, and once that is released, more of his other aspects and the ringing of his ears would make more sense.
Oh, the ringing.
He'll start having downloads that could benefit anyone that comes in contact with them. I feel Navi, I don't feel he has fear, but I feel he's almost like shy, but not the shy we're talking about, the regular shyness. He's just, what? Reserved. Right. Keeps to himself. Right. It's not a bad thing. He will give that particular person information because he feels that particular person needs that information, but only when you have a conversation with them, you'll start to see more of the engaging part of him. Other than that, he just keeps himself to himself. Channeling is also good for him to open up more. The effects are already happening already. He's been doing this for a couple of times, and right. I'm sure you've seen the difference. Right. And I think that it's the same concept with everyone, because people who are a little bit concerned about this, there's no, right? It's all beneficial. The person cannot have any disadvantage. That is true. Are you doing anything for massaging his hands? Oh, wow. Everyone is doing something for him. So,
do you know how many spirit guides Navi has around him?
Naomi has met one of them.
I don't remember.
Archangel Michael.
Oh, Archangel Michael.
He does have a Syrian guide that looks upon him from time to time to see if he's in the right direction. And he is in the right direction. He taps into that consciousness in his astral body and his dreams. He does not know he does it, but he has interactions with this consciousness. And I forgot to ask this question. Anyone in this room, I'm curious, whose previous life before this one, let's say, was one of the Greys? Are you asking if one of the people in this room was previously a Grey? Is that your question? Yes. Name does not come to mind, but the one in front of me does. She does have a life as a Grey, not just one. Sorry. A few. Okay. Getting a sense that he was related to language. What? Language? Yes. See someone writing. That's the sense I'm getting. But for one of those lives. Writing. Language and writing. That's all I'm getting at this moment. Anything you sense that there's a new person is in the room? Anything you sense this person's energy? Somewhat closed? Yes. Can you tell us more? Like a cabinet that has 4 mini doors. One is open, but the other 3 is locked. By him? By choice. So this person couldn't get to the hypnotic state. Is it because of that? Yes. So with the help of microdosing mushroom might help him? It will not? No. What do you think? Maybe he can just do meditation? How about just take the mushroom, have the journey? That will not help. That will not? No. Meditation will help.
So by taking the mushroom, it's not going to get him to that state. It will not.
No.
And
It'll take some time. Mushrooms will not help. That's what I'm getting. It will not benefit.
So he needs to
meditate more
till he's ready.
Until he could still continue what he's doing. Meditation will accelerate it.
So what is the blocking?
Confusion.
About?
What direction to go. What his natural abilities are. Where he would be more suited for and where he could give his greatest contribution towards.
And so he has a little bit challenge right now with his relationship. You tap into that. What do you say?
It's trying to speak, but it's not letting me speak.
Who is not letting?
I don't know. Don't want to push this.
So he's not supposed to know about this?
I guess so, but it's not.
I feel they're very two different people and they carry very different energies.
That is correct.
Yeah. Anything you want to let him know, you can let him know.
Not at this moment. There will be other times for this, but not at this moment.
So the best thing he can do right now is to
meditation, to give silence to the confusion, to be still with the mind. You are still with the mind does.
Make him not to support this confusion.
Yes. Mushrooms will just make it more confusion.
That's very good to know. I think that's the reason he's in the room right now, is for you to tell him that. But he can come back.
He can.
How can I know at that time? I can channel you.
You don't have to. It can happen. Yeah. Availability will be there and the people that are there will contribute to that particular day when it happens. It will not be the same people that's currently in this room, but it will not downplay the experience.
Every time you move your forehead, I just feel maybe it's heavy.
It's just trying to find the right words.
So sometimes
it's not a blockage.
Right, sometimes he does not have the vocabulary, concept.
His vocabulary is somewhat good. His vocabulary is somewhat good, not the best.
It's good enough.
To get the point across.
And you can ask.
And, yes.
Anything you want to know.
Say it clear. Say it more louder. Do you have any? You do. We all have spirit guides. I see a female with a lizard type.
Oh, lizard.
Green color, showing a shape. It's not a shape that's recognizable by humans. It starts with a T. Navi could show it to you when he's done with this session, but he could show it on his mobile device. But what she is trying to show is that this structure has spikes all around it, but in the middle is an energy within it that is very bright. But when you look at it on the outside, it's all over the place, not in smooth fashion. And she's trying to give that reference to you, that the points around that structure is scrambled around. But that doesn't mean that within yourself, you do not have a light that shines. You must clean it first and make it smooth. And when you open it up as an egg, it just flows out like a yolk that breaks, and you see the yellowness of that egg just flowing out, same way you must do. She's trying to show him that. Yes.
So the clean is to clean the confusion?
Not just confusion, but himself.
You mean release certain negative emotions?
Not just emotions, it's thinking. Is energetic flow. It's not flowing smoothly, it's going as if it's a heart monitor, not a heart monitor, it's as if it's a snail. That's the image I'm getting. That when a snail moves, it's going slowly, but it's going up and down, because that's the way the body is. But when it's on its when it stops moving, other beings look towards it, even though it's small. It has a hard shell that does not let other people penetrate, because it does not want to let other people penetrate. But once you look within it, you'll see that there's a living energy within that has much to offer. Just because it is small does not mean it's not grand in the grander scheme of things. Same way, you must go up and down like the snail and just pause for a moment and let other beings look how much far that you've gone, even though you're small.
I think I understand. Very good. And do you feel any energies right now in this room, invisible to us?
I do. I see it more in, it's like a dome that I'm feeling.
Oh.
Just in this bed and the people around this bed. more obvious here than other places in this room.
What this dome is about?
Well, the energy, the colors that I see for this energy is green. It's like a neon green, but neon green, yellow.
So it's like a rainbow?
Not a rainbow, just three particular colors that I'm seeing. Green, yellow, and red. That is what I'm picking up on.
Right. What this energy is doing?
Trust.
Oh, is it trust?
Communication, flowingness.
So we created this energy?
Energy already came as soon as the four of you walked through the door.
Oh, so we were talking about trust today.
Yes. It is vitally important to have it. Without it, nothing could be accomplished. So, human species is managing that in the poorest way possible.
Because everything we learned in our life is the opposite of that.
That is correct.
But we can unlearn those and build the trust.
Any moment's time.
So trust, I think it's very hard to trust things we don't know, but we need to trust everything.
That's part of the process.
To trust everything.
It's your natural nature to trust, but humans have lost that as soon as they realize that power could be used to consume other people's energy.
Oh.
And you can use it for their own advantages.
I see.
Similar to music, as Jessica has pointed out from another conversation that was had.
I want to know what's the rock music is really there for? What kind of energy it carries?
Notes from the guitar, like the intricate frequencies of consciousness that just plays and flows out to the ether itself. And once it flows out, it creates a ripple effect to the multiverse. Something so small is not as insignificant as humans realize. Music in all genres is beautiful if used to the highest forms. One of those is rock.
It doesn't matter what kind of music it all carries.
All music is tapping into the instrument of spirit. It was created so humans could tap into the instrument of spirit to give a physical manifestation of spirit. People want to see creativity used in a physical form, and that is why music was created. And that is why instruments was created. But we could tap into that musical ability within.
Sometimes when I'm doing the psychedelics, I feel I'm not listening to any music. No music is playing, but I can hear inside.
That is the highest form. Other ones are artificially made, but does not take away from the experience itself. Your enjoyment is spirit's enjoyment. Your happiness is spirit's happiness. Your pleasure is spirit's pleasure.
If no one has more questions, then I'm ready to let you go. And then we really appreciate your information.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure I will speak with you soon again.
Very soon.
Thank you. And I'm going to let Navi's conscious awareness to be back. When I count 2, 3, you'll be back here in this room and this reality. 1, you're coming back very nicely.